I'm trying to learn making videos on YouTube from almost no experience in my past. And I want to document my progress and share all my learnings, share all my wins and my mistakes along the way. And this video is completely without script because the topic I want to talk about is talking in front of the camera and how using a script affects your speaking, or it has affected my speaking. Now, public speaking or talking in front of the camera is something that I've never been good at. I've always found it stressful, always found it awkward. And my go-to tool to combat this has been using a ready-made script that I would read. Whether it was a public presentation in the school or university or whatever, I would always use a script if I could. And what I realized starting YouTube is that when you use a script, it actually leads to really robotic and monotone output, speech. And that the reason for that is when you're speaking to someone, you're really flowing. You're not really thinking what you're gonna say in a couple sentences. That really flips when you're using a script. You're always reminded that there's like this train that you have to follow with your speech. And if you go too far from that train, you get lost and you don't know where to go because you're relying on the script. So you're always looking at the script, always reading at the same time as you're speaking. And I found that this really leads to monotone presentation, monotone speech. And something I'm using right now to combat this is to actually stop using a script or using bullet points instead of a script. And the reason for that is I really want to still have a structure for the video. I want to be able to plan it in advance and plan the things that I want to say to the audience. But the thing that throws you apart, which is writing the script completely out, is eliminated by using bullet points. But another skill that I'm trying to learn and what I encourage other creators to learn is to learn to speak without a script completely. Like I'm doing right now. I don't have a script. I don't have bullet points. I don't have anything to follow. What you're hearing right now is just me coming up with things to say in real time. And this, to me, is a skill that is going to have long-term impact on how efficiently I can produce videos for YouTube. Because I found that the scripting process is kind of tedious. You're spending a couple of hours writing about the topic that you want to talk about. And when you're actually starting to film that video, you realize that what you were gonna say isn't exactly coming out the same way when you're speaking it. What I mean by this is that I was trying to film a video today about how to find a path for your career. I had made a script, I had made bullet points for that video, and when I started to film that video, I realized that I don't really speak in the way that I write. It's not natural for me to speak in the same way that I have written those bullet points. And I found myself again finding that script, finding myself speaking robotically or in a monotone manner. And I just decided to stop filming that altogether, do this video instead, where I'm talking without any script. And I also got the inspiration to start this series where I simply film myself talking free flow about a topic related to making videos and documenting my journey on making videos on YouTube. And I hope that this type of content is relatable and I can teach a thing or two about what I have learned about YouTube, about editing, public speaking, equipment, anything that comes to making videos on YouTube. Basically the whole process. I want to talk about a bit what I'm planning on for this series. I want to talk about behind the scenes, the psychological growth when it comes to picking a path that you haven't done before, doing something completely foreign to you that you find passion in, but you haven't just followed that passion before for whatever reason. I didn't know that I have a passion for editing or making videos before I started doing it, but right now it feels like the future, feels like the thing I'm gonna do for the rest of my life, or at least a decade or something. And I never felt like that with anything before. And when it comes to doing something completely new, and I'm turning 29 soon, at this age, when you haven't done that before, you have lots of these learned behaviors, you have learned beliefs and ways of doing and thinking, and just all kinds of limiting barriers built into your brain that you have to let go of. And I'm actually a huge fan of letting go. I'm not sure if you know about this topic at all, but it's essentially a technique that you can use to release limiting beliefs and these programmed patterns from your subconscious psyche. And I really got into this through a mentoring program which I joined a year ago. And letting go has really changed my life. It has allowed me to start living a more authentic and fulfilling life in all aspects of my life. Not only career, but relationships, family, like well-being, fulfillment, all the different aspects of my life. And I really want to teach you something about letting go in this video. So if you don't really know about letting go, it's basically like, let's take an example. You have some belief from your past. Let's say that the belief is, for example, that I'm not charismatic in front of camera. And because I believe this way, whenever I'm presenting in front of the camera, I start to feel stifled. I start to feel resistance towards speaking. And I don't really find the words, or my thinking just stops completely. I'm not thinking clearly. And that's one reason why I had to use like script for so many years. But it's really because of that belief that when I'm in front of a camera, I'm not charismatic. And unconsciously, I'm trying to be charismatic. I'm trying to compensate. I'm trying to do things to make myself look better. And all that effort you put unconsciously, it's going to take away from that flow, from that authentic output. And that's the reason why you're so stifled in front of the camera. That's the reason why you're not finding the words, because you're not in the moment. You're not in the present moment with your whole being. You are stuck in your head, And that's the driving reason, the main reason why you need a script in the first place. So to really combat this, I learned during this mentorship program a really powerful method, which is called the action, trigger, release, repeat. And how it works is that you first take an action. For me, it's sitting in front of the camera and talking. You take that action and you find yourself being triggered in some way. In this case, the trigger might be trying to think what I'm supposed to say, not being in the flow, and just being stifled in general. And you become aware of that trigger. And then you do something called releasing. This all, by the way, described very well in a book called Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender, written by Dr. David Hawkins. But you release the resistance that you have in that moment. And simply put, releasing is simply accepting and embracing everything about the present moment. It's about surrendering to all the sensations in your body that are going on right now. And why it's sensations? Well, the reason is that when you have feelings or emotions, such as anxiety, what is actually happening behind the scenes in your brain is that you label with your mind, with your logical brain, something that is in your physical body as a sensation. And that sensation gets labeled, it gets a meaning from the mind. And with that meaning comes some sort of learned behavior pattern that you're gonna repeat. And that might be, in my case, for example, looking for the script or trying to think about what I'm supposed to say. Now this pattern is automatic, it's a reaction. But what you want to do in releasing is to remove that reaction from that sensation. And how you do that is by learning to feel the sensation in its raw form before you have labeled it. Now, this sounds really complicated and like abstract and spiritual, but it has really worked in practice. Like, I've been practicing this for a year now, and whenever I feel that sense of triggeredness, when you sort of feel a suffering, or you feel this unease in your stomach, or you know that feeling when you're triggered by something, instead of reacting to that sensation and repeating that old pattern, I have really learned to let go of many different patterns that I have been following throughout my life. And what that has done for me is it has made me much more free in many aspects of my life. It has allowed me to speak in front of the camera right now in this manner. Actually, this is like going surprisingly well. But it's a superpower in the end. I really encourage you to read that book and watch videos about letting go. It's also linked to shadow work. Shadow work is maybe a bit more rational version of letting go, where you simply learn about those patterns that are going on in your subconscious mind. That can be helpful in letting go if you get to that root cause or that sensation that is making you triggered through that rational chain. But the most important thing is to learn to feel those sensations without labeling them in any way. That's like really life-changing if you learn to do that. I don't really know what else I'm gonna say in this video. I think I might stop it now. If you watch this video, thanks for watching. I'm not expecting anyone to watch these few first edits or versions of this vlog. But if you did watch this, thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of these in the future. As I said, I'm gonna make this into a series where I document all my learnings throughout the path. Trying to learn to make YouTube videos, and I'm gonna share all the different insights I learn. I'm gonna share mistakes I make, what I learned from those mistakes, and I'm also gonna talk about the spiritual growth, personal development side of what is actually happening behind the scenes, between my ears when I'm doing this and growing as I'm doing it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.